Unleash the power of knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app now on Google Play and Apple App Store. Stay informed with authentic and diverse perspectives, breaking news, and cultural insights. Immerse yourself in a community that celebrates unity, resilience, and progress. Experience the vibrancy of the diaspora at your fingertips. Don't miss out. Empower your perspective today. Search African Diaspora News Channel and join the conversation.
Can this narrative make Nigeria eventually become like South Africa? And I'll explain exactly what I mean. So the Nigerian Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, he recently made shocking, but not really shocking details. He said that 90% of expatriates, foreigners, occupying jobs in Nigeria don't have valid work permits. So let that sink in, because it will make more sense as we carry on in this conversation. And then we have another government official, Adams Oshomole, who is the chairman of the Senate Committee on Interior. He came with even stronger statements. Here's what he had to say, and I quote, "No country in the world allows all manner of people to come under all kinds of guises, and they are giving visas to reside in the country. Visit the commercial centers and you will find expatriates selling tables, chairs, bread. Clearly jobs that Nigerians can do." Now hold on. Selling tables, chairs, and bread. Those are clearly jobs Nigerians can do. I mean, I get it, but no, I don't really get it, because I would assume that you were referring to maybe multinationals or top organizations in telecommunications, in fintech. But selling table, bread, chairs, why did he specify those ones? Now this conversation is already heated, and trust me, there's a lot to unpack here, because while we can all agree that illegal expatriate work is a problem, the way this conversation is being framed as well, that's a whole nother discussion. So let's break it down. Are expatriates really taking jobs meant for Nigerians, or is the real issue somewhere else? And most importantly, is the government trying to shift blame away from itself? Okay, let's start with the basics. Yes, there are expatriates working in Nigeria without proper documentation. That's a valid concern. Every country has immigration laws, and if foreign nationals are working illegally, it means something in our system is broken, right? And yes, it's very frustrating to see foreigners doing jobs that seem like they should be reserved for Nigerians. But here's the thing. Is this really the core of Nigerians' unemployment crisis? While illegal work permits are valid issues, we need to be very careful about how this conversation is actually being framed. Unemployment in Nigeria didn't just start today. It's been a crisis for decades. Even your parents told you the stories. Even today, Nigerian graduates are still struggling to find jobs. You can see them roaming the streets sometimes with the placards. Many who are even employed are severely underpaid. Even when jobs exist, companies are outsourcing roles or even bringing in foreign labor instead of hiring locally. We know that that's still an issue in Nigeria. So let's ask the real question. Are expats really responsible for all of these issues, or is the Nigerian system itself broken? These are the questions being asked. Because at the end of the day, the real issue isn't foreigners working in Nigeria, right? It's that our economy and policies make it easier for them to actually succeed here than for a lot of Nigerians. Now, this is the part that actually concerns me. This rhetoric of foreigners are taking our jobs. Foreigners are taking the jobs meant for Nigerians. It sounds familiar, right? Because it sounds familiar to me. We've seen this play out before. If you remember, South Africa's xenophobic attacks didn't start overnight. It started with a narrative. Narratives like, foreigners are taking our jobs. They're running our businesses. They're the reason we are struggling. These very dangerous narratives, we could say, are the bedrock and the foundation of xenophobia. And before long, it then led to violence, looting, targeted attacks against Nigerians and other Africans living in South Africa. Now, Nigeria is not South Africa, we understand that. But when a high-ranking official starts pushing this kind of narrative, it's a red flag. It's something that must be nipped in the bud, because instead of fixing the system that allows illegal expatriates to work in Nigeria, it then shifts the blame onto individuals who are simply taking advantage of a broken system. Not saying that that is right, but then let's take a look at that. And once that mindset takes root, it becomes very dangerous. I don't think we should encourage that. Yes, tackle the issues, but don't encourage that. Think about it. If young Nigerians start believing that foreigners are their problem, what happens next? Do we start attacking Chinese, South African, Lebanese, Indian business owners? Do we go after ECOWAS nationals running businesses in Lagos? Do we then stop foreign partnerships and investments because they are taking our resources, they're taking our jobs? You see, that's a slippery slope. Whilst I understand that it has its downside, that as a blanket statement is dangerous. This is how you distract citizens from the real root of the problem that they're experiencing, by giving them a convenient enemy to blame, which then brings me to my next point. Let's be very honest here. If foreigners weren't here, would unemployment magically disappear? Would businesses suddenly start paying fair wages? Let's answer these questions. Will there be an economic boom overnight if foreigners were not in Nigeria? I don't think so. If the labor laws are properly enforced, we wouldn't even be having this conversation in the first place. If Nigerian companies prioritized hiring locals and paying them well, experts wouldn't be a threat. Think about it. But instead of fixing these foundational issues, attention is being drawn to foreigners. Are they the main cause of the unemployment issue in Nigeria? Does this seem like a classic deflection strategy? In South Africa, the black majority were made to believe that their real problem wasn't the white minority, who, by the way, controlled majority of the wealth in South Africa, but they were made to believe that it was the African migrants running small businesses that were their problem. Is this now going to be the case in Nigeria, wanting people to believe that unemployment crisis is because of foreign traders and workers? Come on. It should be a wake-up call. Why is it easier for a foreigner to come in and set up a business than for an average Nigerian? Why are companies preferring to hire foreigners instead of locals? The problem is systemic. And as long as we keep getting distracted by experts are taking our jobs, foreigners are taking our jobs, we will never fix the real issues. I think there are some hard questions that must be asked, instead of getting caught up in emotional reactions. Why is it so easy for foreigners to work in Nigeria without proper documentation? Who is issuing those work permits? Who is allowing this system to continue unchecked? Why do Nigerian companies till date prefer hiring expatriates over Nigerians? Is it because of the skill gap? And if that's the case, what is the government doing about education and training? Is it because of corruption? Why is the government shifting blame instead of fixing policies? If this problem is so big, what is the Nigerian Immigration Service doing? What policies are being put in place to ensure Nigerians actually benefit from their economy? You know, at the end of the day, this is not just about experts versus Nigerians. It's about identifying the issues in the system and fixing them. You fix the issues, don't blame people. So what do you think? Do you believe expatriates are a major threat to Nigerian jobs? Or do you think that this is a distraction from deeper economic issues? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's have this conversation. You know, Nigeria's economy is struggling. Unemployment is high. And yes, the issue of undocumented foreign workers needs to be addressed and needs to be addressed swiftly. But blaming foreigners for taking the jobs of Nigerians is not the solution. We need to fix the system, not find scapegoats. Because if we're not careful, this kind of rhetoric can spiral into something very dangerous, like I mentioned earlier, and history has already shown us where that road leads to. Look at South Africa, look at xenophobia. Let's focus on the real issues. Let's fix the system. Let's address those gaps. Join me on my TikTok at Ify_I. My name is Ify Igwe, reporting from Nigeria. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's keep this conversation going.